This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today. What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for August 28th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Thursday edition of the podcast. And it does appear that the septic cuts have now impacted the Phillies as they obviously left New York early to avoid the trains being shut down late last night because they didn't show up. Pathetic display, 6-0 in what should have been a must-win game. And that's the effort you put out there. I feel the only one that showed up was Taiwan and maybe Harrison Bader. But you could have gone to New York, came home with a 10-game lead. You could have come home with a 6-game lead. But instead, here we are, a 4-game lead, and the Mets just own us. And to borrow a line from Pedro Martinez, the Mets are our daddy. And there's no way around it, but no leadership, no heart. I feel as though they just, I don't know. Like, that is how you show up after getting destroyed the first game, having to battle back the second game, and any momentum you had after that second game is gone now. And that's what you play. The worst possible thing happened. You gave the Mets life. You gave them hope. You gave them belief that they can catch you. And it's all your own doing. Absolute pathetic display in New York. After the game, Bryce said, well, we need to have a sense of urgency now. We can't rely on the fact that we have a 4-game lead. And Bryce, newsflash, the time for the sense of urgency would have been before game 1 of this series when you can bury your bitter rival. And now we all need to have to deal with it because there's the only thing, Cowboy fans from this area are the absolute worst human beings on the earth. Close second is New York fans. Cannot stand them and could have buried them. We could have talked our trash and ended it. But now I got to hear guys like Mike, Ryan, and my friends who are Mets fans talk their trash now. And what am I supposed to say? Like Pedro said, the Mets are our daddy. You're absolutely right. But for that to be the effort you put out there, trying to salvage a game when you could have come home with at least a 5-game lead, or 6-game lead, I guess, is just absolutely pathetic. 100% pathetic. They have no heart. Leadership, I don't know what you want to call it, but that, and the fact that now is the time for a sense of urgency, Bryce, that should have already been on your radar. I told you that at the beginning of the week. That's when you needed to have the sense of urgency, not now. Now you absolutely better have one. Braves come into town for a 4-game series. Braves always play us tough. Division game. Got Nola tonight, Ranger, then Christopher Sanchez, then Luzardo on Sunday. But you gave the Mets a hope, and we saw what happened, man. They got hot last year, and whatever it is, you just reignited it because they were playing like absolute ass the entire month of August, and there you go. So I don't know what's going to happen. They need to come out and respond. They need to take 3 of these 4 games against the Braves minimally. No, we cannot have a split with them. They need to take 3 of 4 minimum. It's just very disheartening. And again, I don't know if it was the septic cuts, the fact that they really don't have any leadership, no heart. I don't know what you want to say, but the question of the day yesterday, I said, should we be concerned? 100% of the listeners who voted in the question of the day said we should be very concerned. And I don't disagree. Since I've started this podcast, I've started the mantra and the hashtag New Philly. And this isn't even going back to the old Philly. Um, this team has major flaws, and they have a very talented lineup. But when the lights are the brightest, this team shrivels up. And to borrow another line from somebody, Denny Green, they are who we thought they were. The fact that this was a huge series, you could have buried them, and that's what you did. Look what happened in 22. Look what happened in 23. Look what happened last year. I think it's time to have an honest thing. And yeah, I mean, I've been banging the drum. This is different. Give them benefit of the doubt. We'll see. But I mean, how many times is this team going to show us who they are before we realize maybe they're just not clutch people? I mean, I grew up with guys like Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, Shane Victorino, Matt Stairs, Cole Hamels, guys who stepped up and played their best when the lights were the brightest. Every single player on this team shrivels up when the lights are the brightest. And nothing you tell me is going to make me think that that's going to change this October. So they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. I'm not going to break my studio here like Denny did, but I mean, whatever you want to say, the Mets are our daddy. They are who we thought they were. Bryce, you better have a sense of urgency. I need you to hit like 500 down the stretch with 15 homers and 30 RBI over the next 5 weeks because you need that urgency. And I like I said, I can't even put that really on Taijuan because Taijuan is who he is as well, and he kept them in the game. You had a rookie pitcher making like his third start or something. He made him look like Cy Young out there. Like, no patience, swinging at everything, going back to what we saw in 22, 23, 24. And I'm sorry, this maybe you can help talk me into this, but this isn't new Philly. This is just the same old Philly team. And we know what they are. And here we go. They're showing us once again. Need 3 of 4 from the Braves this weekend, but I'm not feeling very confident right now. So let me know if you can talk me into it. But that does lead to today's question of the day. Are the Phillies cooked? 267-495-8531. I know a lot of people out there say they were cooked before this Mets series, but I mean, would the real Phillies stand up? And I think we saw who the real Phillies team is this week in New York. They shrivel up when the lights are the brightest. And nothing, maybe you can convince me, but as of right now, I don't see what's going to convince me. The Mets are our daddy. This team, I think, is cooked. But let me know your thoughts on the Back to the Future voice and text line. All right, we do got some positive news from the Eagles front. Landon Dickerson was practicing yesterday, not ruled out yet for week 1. Looked like he was moving around pretty good. It wasn't a full pads practice, but that is an encouraging sign. Eagles did make some moves, picked up Willie Lumpkin, offensive lineman from the Rams, who currently is injured. But everybody seemed to like him. The Rams were not happy, Rams fans anyway, that we picked him up. I saw some people mention like an unwritten general manager rule that I'd never heard before. And I don't know if it's true or not, but miss me with unwritten rules. I hate it in baseball. No, the rules are the rules. If you're allowed to do it and you got a guy that's going to do it, it's legal. But apparently, usually when teams place guys on waivers who are injured, teams kind of say, nah, we'll let him go so you can put him on your IR. But Howie said, no, I like this dude, and I'm going to take him. So kudos to Howie for saying unwritten rules be damned. And again, I've never heard that one before, so whatever. But hey, if it was written, we would have followed it. They also are bringing back Marcus Epps, who was cut by the Patriots. Yeah, he played a few years for the Eagles, including the Super Bowl team in 2022. That does give the Eagles some depth there in the secondary. And then the practice squad, no real surprises on who they signed. Kyle McCord was back. EJ Henderson, who is like a staple on the Eagles practice squad, is back. But we are 1 week away from Eagles Cowboys. And that means we're that much closer to the premiere of the Brotherly Birds Breakdown. We will be recording it Tuesday. We're going to record it tonight, but there's just too many moving pieces right now, and I wanted to get it as accurate as possible. That will drop Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. We will break down Eagles Cowboys, talk off-season moves, as well as any injury news and notes leading up to the Cowboys game when we're dropping the banner, which they already have in place, and I guess it's covered now. We'll also give you some fantasy picks, some betting picks, 3 keys to the game. So KeyBank, any other car dealerships out there want to be a sponsor, hit me up. But the Brotherly Birds Breakdown will drop Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. That will be available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. Some other housekeeping notes. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mott on Twitter and TikTok. On Instagram, @PhillyJimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott. That's where you'll find This Day in Philly Sports History, as well as the Brotherly Birds Breakdown. So all of that, hit me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, all of that stuff as we try to grow this thing. And from day one, I've always strived to give you 100% accurate information. And just a quick fix from yesterday, we were talking about Cole Hamels in the top 5 Phillies. Cole actually was 4-0 in the 2008 postseason and had a chance to set the Major League record with 5 wins had it not been for the umpires completely bungling that rain delay. So Cole did go 4-0. I want to make sure I give him the credit for that. All right, yesterday's trivia question, kind of a moot point at this point, but I said, which players have 40 home runs against the Mets as members of the Phillies? Mike Schmidt with 49, Ryan Howard with 48, and Pat the Bat Burrell with 42. Too bad nobody could hit any yesterday. Even a single would have been nice yesterday. But thank you to everyone who reached out and answered. Pat was the one that kind of hung some people up there. Everybody guessed Ryan and Schmidt. All right, let's continue our top 5 of the first 25 of the century. And if you weren't feeling low enough, we're going to do the top Sixers since 2000. And just like the other Sixers moments and teams that we've talked about so far this month, this is going to be kind of depressing. It's mostly a sandwich. You have guys from the front end, guys from the back end, and a lot of just filler in the middle. But here are the honorable mentions for the top Sixers since 2000. It pains me to say this, but this goes to show just how of a brutal 25-year stretch it's been for the Sixers. Tobias Harris is an honorable mention. Eric Snow, Dikembe Mutombo, Thaddeus Young, J.J. Redick, Robert Covington, Aaron McKee, Kyle Korver, Lou Williams, and Tyrese Maxey. Yeah, kind of depressing that those are the honorable mentions, but it is what it is. So here's the top 5 Sixers since the year 2000. Number 5, we're going to go Drew Holiday. Was an all-star, was one of the leaders of that 2012 team who all gave us hope. Even like going into that, even before the Derrick Rose injury, I think we kind of all felt good about the future of that team. And we wanted to just see them put up an effort. Obviously, it played out differently when Derrick Rose tore his ACL. But then once the Andrew Bynum thing kind of just imploded on the Sixers, he became expendable, and then the process started. Coming in at number 4, and it pains me to do this. However, if you look at the body of work since 2000, this guy certainly has been one of the top 5 Sixers if you look at the whole body of work. And that is Ben Simmons, Rookie of the Year, 3-time All-Star, All-Defensive Player. Early in his career, was a scorer, was able to slash and get those points in the paint. And then, of course, we know what happened. Just hid. I will never get over that Atlanta series. But if you're looking at full body of work, Ben Simmons, and again, this goes to show just how pitiful the past 25 years of Sixers basketball is. Ben Simmons comes in at number 4. Number 3, Andre Iguodala, another defensive specialist, made an all-star, hit those 2 big free throws in Game 6 in 2012, and then, of course, was traded for the Andrew Bynum thing. Trade went on to win the Finals MVP with Golden State. And then the top two shouldn't be any surprise. Number 2, Joel Embiid, MVP, couple scoring titles, second in team history. Or I think 70 points is the Sixers record for points in a game because Wiltz came with the Warriors. Injury plagued, but when healthy, one of the best players in the league, one of the best players in Sixers history, number 2 on our list for the best Sixers since 2000. And number 1, everybody knows this. This is indisputable. Allen Iverson, MVP, led the Sixers to that finals run. Probably the most heart of any player in Philadelphia sports history, including Rocky, if you're going to make that comparison. But Allen Iverson, best player, hands down, for the Sixers since 2000. Certainly a top 5 in Sixers history. One of the best to ever do it in the NBA. Hall of Famer, Allen Iverson, tops our list of best Sixers since the year 2000. Now it's your turn. Who's too high, too low? Who did I miss? Who shouldn't even have gotten an honorable mention? I'm sure a lot of you will say Tobias Harris. Ben Simmons, I'm sure, is going to be the sticking point for a lot of people. But if we're looking at this objectively, it is what it is. And that's more of an indictment on the Sixers team since 2000 than me being pro Ben Simmons. But let me know your thoughts on that. Back to the Future Voice and Text Line, Discord channel, which is the first channel or first link in the chat or the description. I'll get it right. The Phillies got me so pissed off today. It's ridiculous. But let me know your thoughts on the Sixers list. And not a good list to have on the day the Phillies just got swept by the Mets. Want to show off your Philly pride without saying a word? Philly Goat has you covered. From tees, hoodies, shoes, and hats, their gear screams Philly louder than an Eagles fan at the vet. Whether you're tailgating in South Philly or trying to flex down the Jersey Shore, do it in style. Hit up phillygoat.com, use the promo code Jim Montgomery, and get 10% off your order. Philly Goat, because being Philly ain't a choice, it's a way of life. Go Birds! All right, so we're going to switch gears a little bit, and college football kicked off last week. But for our local teams, kicks off this week. We're going to do a little Philly college football preview because I like college football and I'm a Temple fan, and gave me a chance to kind of check up on my Owls and see how it's going to be. We will not be doing any Penn State previews because Penn State, I just was there a couple weeks ago. It is over 3 hours away from Philadelphia, so not a Philly school. It's a state school. This is a Philly sports podcast, not a Pennsylvania sports podcast. So if you want Penn State previews, updates, anything, you're not going to find it here. All right, but let's look at the Temple Owls. New coach this year, Casey Keeler. He's an Emmaus native, so semi-local guy. Coached at Rowan, Delaware, recently at Sam Houston State. Bringing in a run first, which I like. I love when Temple, like going back to the Bernard Pierce days, have Jahad Campbell, run first mentality. Brought in, basically overhauled the entire roster. They have 48 new players. So in this era of college football with the transfer portal, it's probably going to take some time for them to gel. It's also going to take time for Keeler to really truthfully change the culture of Temple football again. After guys like Al Golden, Steve Adazio, Matt Rule, Jeff Collins kind of built Temple up on this borderline nationally recognizable program, culminating in 2015. It's been downhill ever since. So it's going to take him some time to build that culture. So it's going to be a long road back, and they certainly have a tough schedule this year. Number 18, Oklahoma, is coming in to Lincoln Financial Field. The following week, they go on the road to Georgia Tech. But then they have the normal American schedule. The other non-conference games are UMass this weekend up in Lowell, and then they play Howard at the Link as well. This should be a classic rebuild year, but I'm anxious to see what Keeler can do. He's talking the big game, talking about bringing toughness back, bringing that Temple tough attitude, and we'll see how these guys gel off the waiver wire. Same thing, transfer portal. They're 201 to win the American. don't think I would make that bet. But DraftKings has them at their over/under wins at 3.5. I like the attitude that KC Keeler is bringing in. I think if they can beat UMass and beat Howard, they should be able to find 2 wins within the American Conference. I like the over. This bet has hit like two or three of the past 3 years, and maybe 3 out of 4 or something. I make this bet every year because the win total has been so low. This might be the highest Temple's win total has been, but I think they can find 4 wins on the schedule. So I like the over. I like them going 4-7, possibly sneaking in at 5-6 in KC Keeler's first year. But no bowl games, nothing crazy like that. But should be watchable. They've been unwatchable. So Temple football should be watchable this year. But if you're looking for, if you're a Temple guy like me and you're looking for a bet, I like the over 3.5 wins. I think that they have 2 wins in the American Conference as long as they beat UMass and Howard, possibly even getting to 5 wins if you want to get a little crazy. But that is your Temple Owls football preview. To keep things fair and balanced, still not going to talk Penn State. But there is another football team in town, and that's the Villanova Wildcats. They are playing their last season in the Colonial Athletic Association in the Patriot League. They have a new quarterback. They were coming off of back-to-back 10-win seasons. They open it at number 13 in the FCS coaches poll. By all stretch of the imagination, they have a good mix of young guys and vets looking to make their mark as they leave the Colonial Athletic to go to the Patriot next year. They should be on pace to get to that 10-win mark. I think that's sort of the magic number for them. Should be a playoff team in FCS this year. Might win a playoff game or 2. Don't necessarily think they're able to compete with like the North Dakota States and teams like that. But they never know if they can put it together. The big question mark is the new quarterback this year. So if that kind of falls into place, maybe the Wildcats can make some noise. But they should be on pace for a 9-10 win season. Could not find their over/under on DraftKings. But if you're on a sports book that has FCS schools on there, depending on what their over/under is, I like them at about a 9-10 win season. Making the playoff, maybe winning a game or 2, getting to like the quarters or the semis in the FCS football tournament. But that is the state of college football report here for Philadelphia. Notice there's no Penn State. Never will. Never have been. They're not a Philly school. It's Pennsylvania school. If I was doing this day in Pennsylvania history, maybe I would talk about them, but I'm not. But let me know your thoughts on college football. Temple, like I said, rebuild year, but I want to see him establish culture, and you do that with tough defense and running the ball, control the clock. And like I said, I like their over 3.5 wins this year. And then Nova, who knows? You never know. They could catch lightning in a bottle, but it should be a playoff team again this year. Looking at 9-10 wins for the Wildcats. All right, it is Thursday. Time for Throwback Thursday. This is always brought to you, at least for the summer, by Beach Caddy. It's still not too late to get your Jersey Shore vacation in. If you want to take a weekend trip down the shore, they got you covered with cart rental. Use the promo code Jimbo for 15% off of your order. Excuse me. And today, we're going to stick with Temple football. KC Keeler is the new Temple football coach and certainly has a tough road ahead, rebuilding this program, changing the culture, instilling his own system. But he is a local guy, bringing some of that local flair, and has had a ton of success at Delaware and Sam Houston State. So I believe that he can do it. Doesn't look like the kind of guy that is looking to go to a big-time program. I was glad to be home, so we'll see what happens. But my prediction, like I said, is 4-7, 5-6, somewhere in that range. Possibly, I don't know, maybe they can, if everything gels right, they could get to 6 games. But who was the last Temple coach to have a winning record in their first season as head coach? That would be Steve Adazio in 2011. He took over for Al Golden, who really is the godfather of Temple football, really brought the program back, and it's sad to see him leave, but totally get it when he went to Miami. But Steve, in 2011, led the Owls to a 9-4 record. They were coming off back-to-back winning seasons. They went to the I forget the name of the bowl now, but it was down in D.C. and I was there for it. Eagle Bank Bowl in 2009. Went 8-4, I think, in 2010. Got snubbed for a bowl game that year, which was just a travesty. But Adazio came in, led the Owls to a 9-4 record, including a 14-10 loss to Penn State. I remember that. It was kind of when Penn State was sort of on their way back up with after the Joe Paterno scandal. I remember being at that game thinking, this is when Temple's going to finally beat Penn State, but I'd have to wait 4 more years for that to happen. But they ended up beating Wyoming in the New Mexico Bowl that year for their first bowl win since 1979. Unfortunately for Steve, they dropped the 4-7 the next year. He bowled it for Boston College, and that did lead to the Matt Rule era and the high point of Temple football. So can Casey Keeler pull a Steve Adazio? I sure hope so. It'd be great to have a winning Temple football team. But let me know your thoughts on Temple football, Steve Adazio, anything Philly college football. I really wish, and it stinks the way the state. I'm not going to go on a long rant here because I'm looking at the time and running long, but I hate the way this current state of college sports. I miss when Villanova was good, Temple was good, St. Joe's was good, LaSalle could put together a good team. Penn was always tough. I would love Philly to be a college football town. Never going to be as big as it is in the South, but man, one of my favorite times of all time was when Temple football, that 2015 season. It just pains me that it's not like that anymore. But I digress. All right, August 28th. On this day, in August 28th, back in 1971, Philly split a doubleheader against the Giants. They lost game 1 5-2, won the nightcap 7-3, and it was Rick Wise doing it all. He pitched a complete game, gave up 3 runs, struck out 11, and then went 2 for 3 at the plate with 2 home runs and 5 RBI. Yes, Rick Wise, for the second time in the 1971 season, hit 2 home runs in a game. First one occurred June 23rd when he pitched a no-hitter. And to be rewarded for his heroics at the plate, pitching a no-hitter, and playing on a dreadful 1971 Phillies team, was being traded for Steve Carlton in quite possibly the best trade in Philly sports history. But on this day, it was Rick Wise Day as he went all 9 innings, striking out 11, and then hit 2 homers, knocked in 5 runs, essentially beat the Giants in Game 2 all by himself. He saw how poorly they played in Game 1, and he said, F you, Joe Boo. I'll do it myself. All right, and then fast forward to 1987. Phillies beat the Padres 8-1. Don Carmen pitched a complete game, struck out 4. But at the plate, the story was Mike Schmidt. He went 3 for 4 with a homer and 2 RBI. The home run was number 522 for his career, passing Ted Williams and Willie McCovey for 9th on the all-time home run list. And then finally, 2009, Phillies beat the Braves 4-2. Ryan Howard went 3 for 3 with a walk, a double, 2 homers, and 3 RBI. The RBI gave him 33 on the month, tied for the Major League lead for the month of August, en route to being the National League Player of the Month. The Phillies did extend their lead to 8 games. At one point, it was down to like 4 or 5 games. So if you're looking for a little bit of brightness in the dark cloud, whatever you want to call it, sunshine on a cloudy day, over the course of time in 2008, Phillies dropped from 4 to 8 to 6, or 2009, I mean. So, not saying it's over for the Phillies completely. I just don't have faith. But on this day, Ryan Howard, 2 home runs, 3 RBI, as the Phillies beat the Braves 4-2. Could use some of that tonight. Bryce, could you go 2 for 3 or 3 for 3 with a walk, 2 homers, and a double? Could certainly use it. Where's that sense of urgency, buddy? That does lead to today's trivia question, and this one is courtesy of my friend John Foley at 2008 Phils on Twitter. But it's kind of a variation of the Stump the Fans question on the Phillies game last night. Who holds the Phillies record for single-season home runs against the Mets? So, in other words, who has the most home runs against the Mets in a single season? If you did watch the Phillies game last night, you will know the answer to this. But who has the most home runs in one season against the Mets? Hit me up on social media. Back to the Future voice and text line 267 495 8531. Get anything else Philly sports related off your chest. We're all about just venting and therapy today. Let's get it out. Let's share our feelings and not hold that in. Don't forget to check out Lotwin. It is fantasy football time. These 3D custom hype chains make great championship prizes as well as loser prizes. I'm seeing a lot of fun things that people do for the last place finisher in their fantasy league. Playing in a golf outing on Saturday where the last place has to golf 18 holes in a dress. That's always fun. Not me this year, thankfully. But go to Lotwin, use the promo code TCCPOD to take 10% off your 3D custom height chain. Don't forget to like, subscribe, review, comment, all that other good stuff. I've been going back and forth with a few people on Twitter regarding my list. It's been a good time. So wherever you're seeing or watching this, be sure to leave a comment and let's do some Philly sports talk. On this day in 2009, Phils beat the Braves 4-2. Ryan Howard, 2 homers, 3 RBI, giving him 33 for the month of August, en route to the August Player of the Month. 1987, Mike Schmidt hit home run number 522, passing Ted Williams and Willie McCovey for 9th place on the all-time list. And in 1971, it was the Rick Wise show as he pitched a complete game and hit 2 home runs, knocked in 5 runs as the Phillies won Game 2 of a doubleheader against the Giants 7-3 after dropping Game 1. Let me know your thoughts on Temple and Villanova football, as well as the dreck that is the top 5 Sixers since 2000. I mean, it is what it is. And then don't forget question of the day. Are the Phillies cooked? They are who we thought they were. They have no heart. Last year, they used to do the celebration about the no marbles. This team has no marbles. You don't go up to Citi Field and get swept when you can bury your bitter rival if you had marbles. That's just my take on it. No hope, no sense of there was no sense of urgency. So Bryce, all right, maybe you're 3 games too late. Let's see that sense of urgency this week against the Braves because you need 3 out of 4 to calm any fears, or this might be 2023 Eagles-esque, this spiral that could be happening soon. Not that I'm wishing it, but I'm just seeing the thing sort of, the wheels are there. I feel like the snowballs are starting to fall down the mountain. So you need to go into this Braves series with everybody needs a sense of urgency in this. We'll have more on the Phillies Braves tomorrow. Start gearing up for Eagles Cowboys next week. And of course, tomorrow is Friday. We spend Fridays with AI. You never know when AI is going to show up or what he has to say. So stay tuned for that. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for August 28th, 2025. My name's Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Thursday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.